Hey, what's going on, role players? It's the Bard here. Welcome back to the corner. So, you guys are looking to get into DMing and GMing games, but you've already started, you're kind of getting into the swing of things. You've checked out all the previous videos on other people's channels on how to GM properly, but it's still not quite there, and you don't know why, because you followed all the rules, but why isn't it going exactly the way you want to? Well, guys, unfortunately, gaming is just like real life. Rules aren't concrete, they're not set in stone, and there are other things you need to consider. Let's go over a few little things that you can do just to really tweak that DMing experience.
So lately, been wondering who will be there to take my place.
Okay, so you've got everything planned down to the minutest detail from when they start to when they finish. They're going to go here, and they're going to do A, B, C, and X, Y, Z. So why then did everything fall apart halfway through? Well, guys, don't overthink it. All you really want is a beginning, a middle, and an end. Know exactly where you want your players to start and know exactly what you want them to achieve in the future, and let them go about it their own way. As long as you have a good story and some interesting encounters along the way, everything should be fine. You don't have to worry about running the best game that there is. Just make sure it's fun and entertaining. But it's not going to be fun and it's not going to be entertaining if A, people think they're going to be led around by the nose, and B, people don't have the freedom to explore their characters or explore their environment. It's very easy for us as GMs to fall into the trap of, okay, the players need to do this, they need to do this, they need to do this, and then I'm going to lay this out for them. Players really want to explore their character. They want to explore being someone else. That's the whole point of role-playing. It's escapism. It's so you can get away from the real life and the mundane. So give those players the chance to explore their character. Have social interactions. Make sure that you have them in there. They're really important. It's not enough just to go running around in dungeons all the time. And if that means making your game less linear, then that's what you have to do. So just don't overthink it. Don't overplan. And give yourself space for things to go wrong. Because if you don't have it, the whole thing will collapse. If the players do something that takes one of your plans out of commission and it affects everything else, you have no game.
If great waves shall fall upon us all.
Now, I don't care how much of a tough guy you think you are or how much you want to deny it, but the simple fact remains, everyone likes being treated a bit something like it. Everyone likes being spoken to, everyone likes being listened to, and everyone likes to have their opinion heard. So really incorporate that into your games. Make sure that your players feel like they are a part of the world. Make sure that you feel like they are actually doing something of relevance or importance. If your players feel like they're not doing anything, or they're not getting anywhere, or they're not achieving anything, or they're not even influencing people, then they just feel like their efforts are wasted. No matter how grand the scheme is that they are a part of, players don't feel like they're a part of your world, then they just don't feel their accomplishments. And it's down to you to do it. You have to be the one to make them a part of your world. So have places with interesting NPCs. This goes back to the social interactions again, but you can't just run through a game just having encounter after encounter after encounter. You want to go to places who have real people with memorable names, with little quirks that people can pick up on. Involve the players. Give things to them. Have interactions. If you want to have plots of land, if you want to have romantic entanglements, if you want to have just some time to explore the city and get to know the local townspeople, then these are great, because then it makes you feel like you belong in that community. And when you feel like you belong and you feel like you're being listened to, and it really helps. After a long quest and you come back to a town and the local tavern keeper says, "Oh, ho there, adventurers. I trust that your quest to slay the evil Medusa has proved fruitful," then they feel like the players feel like they're taking an interest. I mean, I normally advocate for facts over feelings, but the fact is you do have to feel something, because if there's no passion in the game, then there's no game. End of.
Down between the sand and stone, could you make it on your own?
Alright guys, it's time to get your poker face on. Everyone knows that confidence is what sells. Confidence will sell anything. If you are confident in what you're doing and you don't let that mask slip, then the players will respect that. It's very, very simple, and it seems like, you're with friends and you think, okay, they'll let a few slips go. Well, maybe they will, but really, you want to be absolutely 100% sure of yourself. You need to literally sit down, start the game, command the table. Everyone has to respect what you're saying. Everyone has to be listening to everything you're doing. And if you're not grabbing their attention, snap to it. Make sure people are fucking paying attention. And I can't stress this enough. Make sure you have complete and utter control. Because if you don't, they will walk all over you. It's as simple as that. Things will get bogged down in, jokes, quips, TV quotes, interesting stories. This is what happened to me yesterday. And it's like, no, you're here to game. If you're here to game, you want to have fun. Yeah, all right, you might have the odd in-game joke now and again, but God, try to stay focused. I hate it when, a game turns into half an hour of just waffling on about what happened last week. It's so boring, and it's not fair to the DM who spent all this time putting a game together. It's like, no, get focused, come to play, do what you come to do. If you don't want to do it, then go off, go home, do something else, Make sure they respect everything that you've put in. Second thing is, like I said, when you're keeping your poker face up, let people be creative. Sometimes they're going to come up with an idea and they think that they're going to get one over on you. And you can see it in their cheeky little faces. So don't let it get to you. Don't let it shock you. Just sit there, think about it. Think about what would happen if, when, how, and then just say, go for it. Let them do it. And just wait. Just wait and see what happens. It'll be as much fun for you as it is for them. But what happens? Do they roll that natural one? Now, that's happened a few times, and it's happened a few times recently, in fact. And the story that's just unfolded from it has been unreal. The encounter has just gone completely a way that no one was expecting, and people have a ton of fun doing it. But don't let your players freak you out. If they have a good idea, roll with it, if you'll excuse the pun. But just go with it. Let it happen. And if it works, it works. You set them a target number and let them roll. And if it goes on the way they want it to, fantastic. At least they're putting in creative ideas. If it doesn't go that way, now's your chance to be creative. People are throwing spears, trying to cut the rope that lowers the portcullis. Well, that's going to be a hell of a hard thing to do, but give them a shot at it. And if something backfires terribly, make it fun and entertaining. And that leads us on to my next point. Combat is one of the cornerstones of any role-playing game. So combat has to be exciting, it has to get the adrenaline flowing, it has to get your heart pumping, it should really be a life or death situation. Every time a character gets into a fight, they should be fearing, I mean fearing. If you've ever been in a fight in real life, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's absolutely terrifying. You don't know what's going to happen. And that's the way combat should be in game. There should always be a fear factor. It should never feel mundane. It should always be exciting. It should always be high octane. Yes, there will be combats where, you might have to deal with waves, or perhaps you're defending, perhaps you're in a position where, you're not in any immediate danger. But there should always be that feeling of, I could potentially lose this combat and disaster could strike. So even if it's not, a mass combat that's, really important to the game or the story, it should still feel important. And some of the best ways to do that are just don't play fair. Seriously, if you're going to get a fight going with some of your player characters, be bad, be nasty, break the rules, and don't fight on their terms. Never fight on the player character's terms. Always be looking to do things that are way outlandish, exciting, but always have the advantage. I know that sounds really unfair, but half the time your players are going to be sneaking around. They're going to be getting surprises on a bunch of characters. There's going to be, I don't know, perhaps a group of ogres or something who have not made their perception rolls, and then they get backstabbed by the party thief, and of course half their hit points are already gone in that one round, and they've got very little that they can do in response. So play dirty. Play dirty. If a patrol of orcs come around at that, 2 rounds later, by pure coincidence, then do that. Don't have a group of orc raiders attacking your player characters on flat ground. Have them on horseback, chasing after the player character's cart, throwing axes at the moving wagon. People having to defend the horses and defend the wagon itself so that, it doesn't slow down so that they can make their escape. If you're in a modern day game, you don't just want to have shootouts in the street. You want to have car chases. You want to have people leaping from burning buildings as they're trying to, do combat. Look at any action movie that you've ever seen. Is it mundane? It's never mundane. Say you're playing a game of Star Wars. This is something that we did just the other day. We had the Jedi Knights leaping on top of the Rancor doing battle. And at which point, while the Padawans were trying to take out the Rancor, the Sith Lord jumps up and starts battling the Knight. They're trying to balance on top of this creature while everything else is trying to fight it underneath. And then it's the Rancor is ripping holes out of the floor, and people are dangling, with imminent death just below them. It's fun. It's exciting. It's got to have some kind of real fear of death, because you know how many hit points your characters have, and the players, they know how many hit points they have, and they're always sitting there in the back of their mind, they're calculating, okay, I took a hit that was worth this much, I reckon I could take another hit, and I'll probably go down the round afterwards if I'm, No, don't give them that chance to calculate shit. Just throw stuff in, leave them like dangling over precipices, have like bombs ready to explode, have, important things that you're after almost destroyed by, I don't know, moving on a conveyor belt into a furnace or something that needs to be collected whilst the fight's going on. Have anything or everything that you can possibly think of happening during combat, because if there are other things to worry about, like keeping something safe or protecting someone else or stopping yourself from falling off a cliff, or not hitting another car in a car chase or something in these modern day games, or not having your fighter craft fly in and smack on an asteroid in a futuristic game. These are the things that make combat interesting. Include them, use them. They're there to be used. Don't ever put anything in that's mundane, because combat is never mundane. And people will be so bored. I've had people come back to me and say, I really enjoyed that. I haven't had so much fun in ages. It's been such a long time since I had a really good, combat. And why? Because things happen that they just don't expect. So in the end, what it boils down to is, in order to be a good storyteller, you have to be able to tell a good story. And it has to have interesting plot points and plot twists and interesting encounters, and just it has to keep people's attention. And it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, if you're just starting or if you've been doing it for 20 years. If you can't do these things, then you're not going to have a good game. You could be the most experienced GM in the world, but if you haven't got that flair, if you can't tell a story, if you can't keep people's attention, then what's the point in doing it? And this is the problem with all of these hints, tips, tricks for DMing videos. No one tells you how to tell a story, because it's not something you can learn, and it's the thing that they leave out every time. Every time they say, okay, so you're the arbiter of the rules, and you have to make up the story, and you have to be the person to judge everything, and you have to make the world. But yeah, these are tasks you have to perform. It doesn't tell you how to make a story interesting. If you want some good ideas, go and look at some creative writing sites, and they'll tell you all the same sort of things. You need some kind of beginning, middle, and end. You need some kind of plot twist here or there within the story, and then you need a couple of little pinches just to keep the interest going. And that's pretty much it. But it's just writing the story to fit that group of bracketed things. As long as you have those areas, you've got a good story. All those little pinches, they're your encounters. They make the thing interesting. But unfortunately, like I said, none of these videos ever tell you how to tell a good story. And do you know what? It's because no one can. You either can do it or you can't do it. And if you can't tell a story, well, your DMing is going to be a little bit flat. But it's not something you can't improve with practice. So stick at it. If you do get a game that doesn't go well the first time, don't let it get you down. Just keep practicing. If you have ideas, do that. Read books, watch movies, use published adventures if you want, if it makes it easier. Don't feel like it's a cop-out. Sometimes you don't have time to write a full adventure. Sometimes you don't have time to do all the reading you want. Just do whatever you can do and make it fun. Take any concept you like and make it fun for the players. Alright guys, I've gone on for long enough about this. I'm sure you've already seen a ton of other how-to DM videos, and perhaps you got a little bit more out of this one. If there are other things that you would like covered, if there are specific things you want me to talk about, then feel free to leave comments down below. That's what the comment section is for, and I do read them, and I do like to respond to as many people as I can when they have something relevant to say. So get in there. Can you tell me how to do this? Can you tell me how to do that? It will make a great video as well. In fact, there are entire sections of DMing or role-playing that really need entire videos to themselves to be covered. So don't, be afraid to get in and ask questions. And it's the same thing when you're role-playing. Don't be afraid to get stuck in and do things. So if you have comments and questions, by all means write them down. I'd love to hear them, because we're going to help each other do as best we can, because that's what the community is for, to help each other in their role-playing experience. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit the notification button, and I will see you guys next time at the gaming table.